Hi guys, Matt Easton here. So I've got a bit more space to move in. Normally I'm talking about upper body sword movement stuff. We're going to look a little bit at footwork now. I have done a video on this before, but no harm doing another one. So the footwork for Sabre is actually really basic. So your stance should be, at least according to John Musgrove weight, which is the main source I study from, both knees bent and weight equally between the legs. Front toe always pointing towards what you're aiming at, rear toe pointing out sideways. Sometimes it's a bit back, sometimes it's a bit forward. It depends what you're doing. The direction of the back foot is not so important. It's very important that your front toe is always pointing forwards. Two main reasons. One, it gives you a longer and better lunge. Okay. Number two, it means that if you twist the toe inwards when you go forwards, you run a risk of twisting the ankle and falling over forwards. Okay, so it's very important to have that front toe pointed forwards. Equally, there's another peripheral benefit of that, in that it keeps your body in the right direction and nice and sideways onto the target. If you turn the toe in, you tend to turn the body in the wrong direction when you're trying to hit someone over there. So it's kind of keeping everything pointed in the right direction. Movement, very simple. If you want to advance, you move the front foot first and the back foot follows. If you want to retire, back foot, then front foot. So it's simply that and that. Anybody who's done modern sport fencing will have learned this. It's exactly the same. What we try and avoid doing is this, where we cross feet, either going forwards or backwards. Okay, the main reason why you don't want to cross feet is because if you get caught in the middle, it's a very perilous place to be. And unlike modern sport fencing, where if you fall over, then they start the match again, in a real fight, if you fall over, you're likely to be dispatched quite quickly. Equally, you can, in a real fight, someone could be grabbing your weapon or trying to grapple with you. So you don't want to be in any kind of position where you're unstable. You want your feet to be apart as much as possible when you're moving forwards and backwards. Traversing, that's the final thing. We don't do a lot of traversing in Sabre. However, there is some. And that can be done in a number of ways. One way is to move the front foot off to the side first and then the back foot around. The other way is to move the back foot around first and then the front foot. Obviously traversing, if I face you, means if you're my opponent there, it means I'm coming off the line to usually attack your sword arm, or essentially at the same time as a guard. So if you were to attack me, I might do a traverse off to the side at the same time as guarding to then hit your sword arm or your head from the side, make it more difficult for you to parry. However, traverses are not used a lot in Sabre. It's quite a light, quick weapon and not particularly long. So generally speaking, there isn't a lot of scope for traversing with this particular weapon. Okay guys, so in addition to being able to now move forwards and backwards, the next thing you need to know is about attacking. Okay, and the basic thing to know is that Sabre is what we call a lunge and recover system, much like small sword and much like modern foil and épée. Okay, and what is a lunge? Well, a lunge very simply is a push with the back leg such that it ends up in a straight position. Okay, so you end up in that position there, and it means that you can now reach far forward to hit someone, and then you immediately after either hitting or being parried, recover back to your guard position. Okay, so generally speaking, you're always jockeying for position with this advance and retire, and occasionally changing direction and moving around. And then when you make an attack, it's made on a lunge with an immediate recover. This means that as soon as you've either hit or not managed to hit the opponent, there's a moment at which you're now moving away from them. So if they want to hit you back, they've either got to be really quick, they've got to be really quick parry riposte, or after they hit you, they have to pursue you to hit you back, which gives you a very slight advantage in time of getting your own guard in, and it makes attacking safer. The other thing to say about the lunge is it means that the distance that you cover to attack someone is done in the simplest, smallest, quickest movement. There's no number of passing steps. You don't shuffle up to them and then hit them and then shuffle out again. It's nice and clean. You get to the edge of that range, the range at which you can't hit them without making the lunge step, and in the same time that you make the attack, you make the lunge step and come back out again. So it's a very safe movement, simple movement, and quick as well.